truth, you said. I'm not staying late, I said. I got someone waiting at the gate.
Check. How about now?
Called it wrong, said we'd keep it light, keep it small, not long, but your hand on mine felt like crossing state lines. Every promise that I made before you echoes loud in the dark when I go, but I keep driving back, I can't ignore you. Guess there's something that I need you to know. You're my home away from home, where I lay down what I can't let go. In your arms I'm leaving when the sun gets low. I hate the miles between your door and my front porch, but when I feel that lost, that gone, you're my home away from home. Oh yeah, home away from home. Saw your picture by the sink, little faces framed in pink. You said they're my whole life. You see, then your eyes got stuck on me. Two rings shining in the dark, four lives hanging on a heart yet. When your voice
How about now?
on the phone, I hear you call me. You're unknown. Every promise that you made before me pulls you back when you reach for my hand. But you keep driving here, you can't ignore me, so I whisper, I know I understand. I'm your home away from home, where you lay down what you can't let go. In my arms, you're not alone, even though you're leaving when the night runs low. You hate
All right.
the miles between
Instagram is up.
and your back door. But when you feel that
And yes, this is me at my most Nickelback.
lost, that gone, I'm your home away from home.
Yes, like the stream again. Start from scratch.
We built a house in the middle of the wrong side. Four walls made of one more night. If we tear it down, do we do the right thing? If we stay, do we kill the light? I don't know how to let you go. I don't know how to make this right. All I know is when the world feels cold, you and I both run to the same place inside.
What's up? All right, now I think we're someplace. Excuse me. All right, this is a little better. There you go. Yes, I was at no skipping. Yeah, it just needed a straight up refresh. Apparently, a piece of audio software that I'd been using before when we had our issues earlier had tried to sneak its way back in, wake itself back up. Perhaps there was a scheduled update that happened, maybe, of something, and it turned itself on and came back on. And in that, it crowbarred itself in. Dagnabbit. And then I think we're okay on Substack. Should be up and running, I think. Yes? Yes, but it did say Jehovah. Okay. now I gotta reopen all my files again. That's the only son of a. All right, we got that. We got this little set. Apparently, there was something about Rwanda and flock cameras, something along those lines. We got Dan Hullo coming up. Trump did this rally, but he also did this Rose Garden thing where basically
He was
just showed
angry
off.
and he was also embarrassed by where these
Yes,
stores
that-
were.
Yes, yeah, that's basically a great description of Trump in general. Let's see. This is something to show you how great the Iran war is going. And how, let's see, here we go. And then freak out about communists, freak out about communists, freak out about communists, freak out about communists. There you go. And There's cows. Look, cows. All right. And then we got to do the Besant bullshit. The Operation Economic Derp Day. Here's that. That's the whole thing. There's the piece. And then here's another piece of it. And then there's some Ben Shapiro nonsense. All right. I think I have everything. I'm never going to, Jesus Christ, I'm never going to get through all this stuff. It's so much stupid. All right. And yeah, that'll work. Okay. So where were we? The dumbest part of this whole thing.
When we arrived in Rwanda, it was
all right. Yeah. So back to this nonsense. Here we go. All right. It was great seeing Tara Devlin this morning, and I appreciate you guys. How do I validate parking? No, I don't. I think people should be ashamed of their parking. If you can't parallel park, you don't deserve validation on an emotional and psychological level. I won't allow it. I'm not going to. All right, here we go. This is a proper salute for Brewer. Okay, here we'll see.
At the end of COVID, so I went to Egypt.
Let's just recap. During the first presidential term of Donald Trump, Jim Brewer thought it would be a good idea to take his friends and family to Africa during a pandemic. Yeah.
Kenya and Rwanda. And when we were in Rwanda, but what was interesting about Rwanda, if we want to get a little, you want to go a little, whatever theory, I can't stand the word that you put in front of theory.
Again, scientific. He hates the word scientific, I guess.
Rwanda was basically invaded by people from Belgium or claim whatever they were.
Fake Belgians. Yeah, that's always a big problem down in Africa. It's like, you don't know, really. Sorry about the freeze frame. So, people posing as Belgians, Russians, but okay.
And they went into that African country and they basically started propaganda to make the Rwandans hate one another.
He made the Rwandans hate each other? How did the Rwandans feel about this?
And certain tribes not like, and they created a real life genocide. I mean, it's one of the worst ever. They were slaughtering children.
Yeah, the Tutsis versus the Hutus. We know this is something that the America First crowd has been talking about. We should never intervene in situations like this before. But you know what? Most of us need history from the 90s from Jim Brewmeister.
They were slaughtering the women.
Apparently, women. You mentioned women before, but also women.
They were killing each other. And
the women were killing each other? Were they being slaughtered while they were killing each other? I'm going to need a chart.
This all came...
By the way, just because words are used to lighten a subject does not mean the subject is taken lightly. I refuse to let this asshole give us a history lesson. I'm making fun of that, not the Rwandan genocide, in case anyone needs clarification.
From an outside, it wasn't the Africans that created this. It was the people that came. They controlled the news. They controlled the education. They controlled the newspapers.
The news and the newspapers.
They controlled all that.
Yeah, the news logs, the news all the way back to the origin of the news squids, where they got the ink from, I guess.
And it was during the Clinton eras. The whole
errors? I don't think that's an accident.
Clinton time, when the Clinton...
You mean when Bill Clinton was president? During his term as president? During his term? Term, I think, is the term you're looking for.
Bill Clinton and them were, and we didn't go help.
Right. And we sure as fuck aren't helping in Sudan right now. And Bill Clinton says it was the biggest regret of his presidency. I don't think Donald Trump would give a rat's ass.
And this is why often, too, I don't even tell people, oh, we're there to free people. No, we're not. We're there to free the... No, you're not. No, you're not. then you'd be doing it everywhere. No one was there for Rwanda. And it made me wonder, so if you go there, it's pretty brutal to see what they did to those people. I mean, it's disturbing to show how evil.
Yes, we're those of us that are adults who were alive during that time are aware. Yeah.
People that make laws in government and news, how they sell pure evil. But what I thought was more interesting was after they did what they did, and it was the Africans that were like, hey man, why are we killing each other? These guys came in, they made us start doing this. We need to kick them out. They're the troublemakers. They came here, they got us pointing at, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're a liberal, you're an LGBT, you're this, you're that. They came in, took over.
Fucking Belgians, and they're and trying to create socially liberal policies in Rwanda and cause the Tutsis and the Hutus to just gin up a tribal war. Yeah, Belgium was long gone at that point. I know that. We know this. That's what I'm. Yes. Anyway, so the Belgians came in and tried to convince the Tutsis that they were Republicans and the Hutus that they were Democrats, and or vice versa. But both were gay and neither were gay, and also trans.
The papers, the news, the education system, they came in.
Mm-hmm. Jews. Anyways.
And got all us doing this.
You say that, asshole. This is what's fucked up. The only time he's not attacking our side of the aisle, my side of the aisle, is when he's creating this kind of straw man Belgian deep state Illuminati farce. That's why we're all fighting amongst ourselves. Well, first of all, you're the one who's starting it as a fight. I'm joking in good nature and handing out truth wherever I can, but I also am treating everybody like a human being, because if I'm arguing with you, I obviously see you as arguably human. So even at my worst, I'm not dehumanizing someone and turning them into, say, a demon, which. All right.
So if you look at a case like Rwanda.
Yeah, we're so close to Rwanda.
Came in, got them all going after one another.
Oh, and what's in Belgium? The UN. A coincidence? I think not.
Killing one another. And then the Clintons were kind enough to put up a museum, or back a museum. But what I found interesting
what did you find interesting?
Was once we got involved, I don't know this for a fact, do your own fact checking. I never
look, don't bother. Just say it.
Been to a country where they were technically advanced. I never saw things. So this is right after COVID. And it was so frustrating because you would leave, I think we left Egypt.
I don't care.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's abundantly clear. None of us. I don't even want to remember this.
I don't remember. All I remember is before you got on a plane, you had to take a COVID test, which you had to pay for.
You were in a developing country during COVID.
So while you're on the plane, 2-hour flight, you land, you're not allowed in the airport, and you have to stand on the tarmac, and you got to get tested again. And when we landed in Rwanda, again, we already paid for the test.
Wait. Hold on. No. Real quick. How did this, what the fuck? How did this go from during COVID, they were COVID testing in Egypt and in Rwanda, and this dickhead said, travel's so cheap right now. And he decided to go to these places for God knows what fucking reason. Yeah, they are different countries who are protecting their people, by and large, racially homogenous countries who tend to get a bit concerned. Ask the Mayans how they feel about Spanish people with smallpox rolling in. Like, there's a reason why that, like, quarantine was based on the number of days your ship had to park off your coast and stay there. It was like 14 days, right? Was the idea. So you had to park for 2 weeks, long enough for Trump's healthcare plan, apparently. And why is this weird? And how is this what does it have to do with the Belgians? All right.
Then you got to land there and you got to pay for the test again.
See, it's these countries, they screw. I think I blame the Belgians.
Like $200 to it, and I'm a party of fives. So I'm dropping $1,000 every time I'm taking off and landing, which they don't.
Fuck you. Here's a good idea. Don't go on a big tour of Africa and the Middle East during a global pandemic, you tit.
Tell you about. There's big money in science.
Yeah, buddy. The profit margin on the testing in Rwanda. Fuck, man. What it cost $4 and they were just pocketing the rest. Is this the conspiracy theory part? That the Rwandans, after the Belgians got them fighting and we didn't do anything except move in later and give them a museum, but now we've been backing them ever since. And now they're making money hand over fist, forcing everybody to do COVID tests in the middle of the fucking thing.
They then sent us to our hotel, and you weren't allowed to leave your hotel room
until your test came back negative.
And everything was face recognition. It's the first time I saw face recognition.
Yeah, that would be the Belt and Road Initiative from China. That's where that comes from, stupid.
They had towers. I mean, they were technically really advanced over there. And it made me...
Sorry, Rwandans have towers? When did this start?
And I remember we had lunch somewhere, and there were these meters. Like it would, it'd say 4.2 or 3.7 with these digital numbers at this restaurant. We're like, what is this? And they go, oh, it's a noise meter. We're not allowed to go over a certain noise meter. And bro, between the face recognition and not allowed out of your hotel room until the government said you're clear to walk around.
Which they did because you were.
That made me realize
how I love our freedoms in America. And we don't have that problem here. And
I wonder if whoever runs everything, they use...
Whoever runs everything. Why do they run it differently everywhere? That's my question. If the Illuminati runs everything, in the theory, how come they run it differently everywhere? Why wouldn't you have the same system everywhere?
These countries, they go in, they get them to slaughter one another, and then they now run it.
They do?
The way we often help other countries. And
that isn't us, you dumbass. What are you talking about?
We're going to move you out because you're not about freedom and democracy, and we're going to make sure that, your people are safe.
What the fuck? The deep decibel meter state. Yeah, fucking Belgians come in. They're just the entry-level force. They come in and they get them fighting amongst each other. And then you dump a little infectious disease on them, and then you roll after, and then after that, American contractors apparently come in and jockey for position with the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative that put those cameras in place.
In the meantime, we're going to put this here, take these things and take that and take this and take that and guard this and guard that.
Yeah, why are you guarding this when you should be guarding that?
And I'm starting to travel a couple countries where I'm starting to realize Our tax dollars not only go to Israel, they go to a lot of countries.
I see. All right, so that's where this is going. So apparently, this is a backwards USAID warning, because apparently, if we send food to Rwanda or some cleanup shit, God forbid, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, that we're paying for flock cameras everywhere, and that we're next.
And it made me go like, is America the slave of the world?
Is America the slave of the world? I think he means slave master of the world. Are we enslaving people? I mean, words matter, and syntax, being what it is, the order of the words also matter.
And we're the only ones that don't get it yet?
So, all right. I've been trying. I've been trying to make something coherent out of this shit, and now I've run out of rope. I really have. What?
Why do we send billions to this country? Why do we give weapons in this country? And then why do we? I mean, I was in Belize, and it's like, oh yeah, America sent billions of dollars for the infrastructure. What?
What? Infrastructure? What? Yeah, it's part of the sort of, you know, trade and soft power and that kind of stuff. Do you know again, we're competing against Belt and Road from China, and the idea is that they're using debt traps, and the idea is that we, through the IMF and other groups, in theory, at least till Donald Trump came along, we're trying to operate in the world in at least marginal ways that we could pick up some of the slack from the blowback that we'd have caused by military interventions under Reagan. But that's that old chestnut, What?
I was in an African country and like, yeah, America sent us. Like, what?
What? Why are we helping Africa? What?
Hey, listen, I'm up for helping everyone, but
Are you though? Are you though?
it really. That's why.
You're really not. I think is what your point is. Like, I don't know what this mess is. I just don't. This ship sailed. America's following the exact same script that destroyed Rwanda, a place that was so destroyed that Rwanda had a genocide in the 90s, but now is secure and has a system in place wherein if they are impacted by a pandemic, they have a reasonable response, limiting your time and exposure to other people if you're new to the country for a period of hours until such time as you are not infectious, and then you can go out during a fucking pandemic. Also, you do realize if you flew there today, none of that shit is happening. He's got a spoonful of Belgian waffles. I know. He's drinking Belgian waffle tea.
Again, back to the fighter and the lover.
Ooh. Which one do you want to be?
You know how many people are taking advantage here and they have no clue and they think one thing?
I don't know what this is. Okay. Honest to God, this is fucking goop. You know how the thing with people starting with when then they stop, and you don't know if you're halfway there or you got halfway to go. You know how it happens. When you get these glass half full people, and you're like, is there even a glass? You know what I mean? What if it's a cup and it's not even made out of glass? Can you be a glass half full person with a mug? Honestly, it's ceramic, and some people consider that glass, but is it really? And then who tells you that it's glass?
And they don't have the slightest clue about another.
Another.
And that. I don't get mad at the person. It makes me want to fight the people that cause that, but it's not my fight. It's not my fight.
Sorry, you want? I'm sorry. Back up. You're fighting the Belgians now. Is that what we're supposed to? Is Jim Brewer throwing down against the Belgians?
We're all here. We're all stuck here.
That's right. We all stuck here in fucking the Florida Everglades. I don't know where we're all stuck here at my uncle's house, bored out of our fucking tit, trying to put some videos up and then I got to think of something.
Borrowed time. At the end of the day, we're on borrowed time. And I'm telling you, the only thing that's going to get us through
Borrowed from who? What? Sorry, all life is borrowed?
is you're going to have your rebels. You're going to have your people that are awake. You're going to have the people that call things out. Getting back to it takes a village.
Thank you. But it all, after all that, it always comes back to Hillary was right. This is like the fourth fucking right winger that we've seen just devolve into it takes a village. Fucking Lana Douche said that last week. What is happening? Is it okay? All right. Let's keep it rolling. This is some people are going to attack this. I want to say that some people attack the sort of AI sloptastic Benny Johnson thumbnails or the joke ones that I make and that CSL makes and stuff because we are playing on the edge of these toys and just messing around. But when we go to this next one, I want to show you what old-fashioned Canva cutout shit thumbnail looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Dore, big yellow letters. You can't go wrong. An angry shot of Donald Trump. Obviously, both of these images stills grabbed from the interview. In theory, I mean, both of them look terrible, washed out, a little bloated, perhaps febrile. We don't know. But and then he at least had the nerve to like grab the old clown nuclear explosion that somebody made a long time ago. Remember that? Yeah, he just stole that and threw it in the background. Old school, baby. Old school. The Joe Camel on the left. Ouch. All right. So he wants to nuke Iran. This is okay. So she was on there and did the whole couple hours with her or whatever. But this is one of those things where like the enemy of my enemy is my frenemy, and I'm not even sure we're enemies at this point. Jimmy Dore's been a huge Trump fan, and most of the oh my God, he wants to nuke Iran shit that we keep seeing seems like Jimmy's just he's shocked and disappointed instead of like, yeah, no shit, asshole. This is who Trump is. Okay, so here we go. MTG, Trump wants to nuke Iran, and she's got evidence.
You have credible, reliable sources.
Oh yeah,
that you trust and believe, and that.
Yes, for the record, she also had those during QAnon as well. That the whole thing that Donald Trump would save us from the pedophile cabal. She had credible sources. I just like to throw that out there. It doesn't mean she's lying now, but I'm just saying weigh that against what she's saying.
That are telling you that, yes, there are definite conversations about the use of nuclear weapons in Iran because Donald Trump is so frustrated with how the war is going.
I would have never posted that if I didn't know that.
Well, I guess we just trust her, and it's a life lesson for all of us. I feel like I'm growing as a person. I have trust issues when it comes to Marjorie Trainwreck Green and Jimmy Dork, but perhaps this is one of those moments. Maybe we're a broken sundial moment.
So let's talk about quickly we can. Iran, you tweeted out they are discussing using nuclear weapons on Iran in strategy meetings. You read that correctly. I'm real. I'm not speculating.
She said it's real, not I'm real. I don't think she feels like the need to tell people that she's an actual human being. We're all sadly far too aware of that reality, I guess, that she is. Unfortunately, Marjorie Taylor Greene is real.
No.
Is real. Look at that.
How do you know this? And what have people said to you since you tweeted this?
Well, you got to remember, I served in Congress for 5 years, and I know a lot of people, and I'm not going.
Yeah, essentially, real quick about that. Congress people have 2-year terms. Yes, they're elected to 2 years. And you were, in theory, reelected for a third term. And what happened? All right.
Give up my sources.
Did the Democrats drive you out?
Certainly not going to do that. But yes, I was informed that they are discussing lowering the nuclear threshold in order to be able to use nuclear weapons on Iran. I mean, think about it. This is what we've seen Mark Levin like gush over on his show. We've seen Laura Loomer demand it. She wants every single man, woman, and child to be just evaporated and killed in Iran. And we've seen the
Yeah, they they're all friends and coworkers of the guy that you championed into office, while vilifying everyone else who would never come anywhere near this kind of policy at all. Like, think what you will about Biden and Harris and Obama, and you certainly think a lot of things. There is no fucking chance that they were going to do this. Not even close. And you were telling everybody, oh, never mind Epstein files, never mind fucking what you said about Hunter is 3 times true about Don and Eric. I don't know. But you know what? Apology not necessary. Please continue.
Voices that say it out loud, those are also the ones that call and text the president and demand these things. And
well, obviously, if they demand them, he has to do them because he's an automaton, and while he wants to do what's right for the world, and he's a good man, good, fair, intelligent, carefree, albeit bloated, farty man who, again, was wearing a tin pan in his pants to keep himself from shitting down the back of his legs during the Rose Garden event today. Even though that's true, I mean, he wouldn't do. But these people, they're so convincing.
So yes, I was willing to say, here's what I've been told, because
By whom?
I think it's so serious. I think it's
so serious,
so heinous. I think it's so evil that the American people have a right to know that these are actually discussions taking place, by the way, by the president of the Board of Peace and his.
That would be Trump. That would be the president of the United States, who made himself the head of the Board of Peace.
No More Foreign Wars Administration. And to me, I
hold on, real fucking quick. Look, I understand there is a value on some level of people like her and, and to a lesser extent, like Joe Walsh and others who've come around and recognized that they were wrong, or they believe they were right all along, but the person changed, which again is horseshit. Trump was always this way. But you don't get to do fucking air quotes, lady. You don't get to, because you were a human air quote during that campaign. You helped further the lie that Donald Trump would be the peace president. The fuck out of here. Also, I don't know why you're red. That judging by the background, sometimes the coloration is off, and you can look at there's too much red in it. The plant's green will look more, kind of bluish or something like that. But everything else, the coloring looks kind of normal, which to me says I'm not a medical doctor, but there's a very strong chance you might be about to explode.
I think it is so vile, because if we look back on history in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, people were murdered. Like 110,000 people were killed instantly. And then hundreds of thousands more people died horrible deaths in the year and the following years after America.
Okay, yeah, let's relitigate that. Yeah, thanks, Marge. Nuclear weapons, bad. Okay, important safety tip. Thanks, Egon. Fuck you, lady. It's not wrong of him to use them because of the devastation they cause. It's wrong because of the moral function of the entire thing. That he's a frustrated asshole and he started this shit. Also, sorry, killing 120,000 people instantly versus strafe bombing them over weeks. What's the moral difference? If the war's wrong, the war is wrong, no matter how you carry it out.
Drop nuclear bombs on Japan. Totally different, by the way. Japan attacked America.
Right. Yeah, that too.
Came over and attacked us, attacked Pearl Harbor. Iran has not dropped a single bomb or fired a single shot on American soil. And Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard briefed the president over and over that they're nowhere close to having a nuclear weapon. Multiple international agencies, nuclear watch agencies, said the same thing. Many of our intelligence agencies said the same thing. And so I said it out loud. I'm like, okay, let's pull this into conversation. Here's what the president didn't do, Jimmy. He called me names and attacked me like he does all women, by the way. The man attacked.
Fuck you. Again, you helped deliver this guy in. None of his attacks on women were a mystery when you helped him get elected. She was one of the #1 fundraisers for this dickhead. All of this shit was true at the time. The fuck out of here. All right. I'm fine. Like, that's the full extent of the value of that video in terms of this frenemies bullshit that people are doing, where like TYT had on Matt Gaetz or something, which is even more fucked up, but her and others, like, the value of those people again are as road signs, not as a new moral compass. There is zero value in what Marjorie Taylor Greene has to say about her newfound outrage about Donald Trump as a person, because all of her outrage is based on shit that was fundamentally, it was obvious, it was clearly visible to anyone who gave a shit in before 2015. The dude was a fucking scumbag. He was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter century. Somebody just said, like Hakeem meeting with Jared. Jared's actually in charge of policy currently, and he's not an elected representative. There's something there to be gained from leverage there. Her as a moral compass, get the fuck out of here. Even again, if it's to get a lie on the record. So stupid. All right. So the big thing today was obviously this economic dirt day. Let's see if I can. Yeah, here it is. Let's just do a couple of little snippets from this horse shit, because I have no doubt other people will cover it in an apparently trying to clean up after this whole nonsense. Is this the whole thing? Yeah, okay. So here's Scott Bessent announcing Operation Economic Outcast. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah. Apparently, we've got to keep them separated.
Good afternoon.
By the way, Bessent is announcing this because Trump's brain is fucking mush, which I will show you in a minute. And they are doing everything they can to try and make him seem active and available and out in the public or whatever. And it's been bad. Holy shit. I'll show you in a minute.
Today, at President Trump's direction, the United States Treasury has begun Operation Economic Outcast, an unprecedented campaign
to describe how the United States is on the world stage in terms of trade because of Donald Trump's tariff wars
against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its enablers.
Real quick. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. Perhaps, perhaps this might have been something to try before you bombed a school full of girls. You know what I mean? Like if it's that good a plan. All right.
In the Second World War, D-Day marked the historic beginning of a campaign with our allies to target and drive the enemy from its positions, including those in third countries. Today,
Yeah, but you didn't announce it ahead of time. It was a sneak attack. Matter of fact, you said you were doing everything but in theory, I guess. Oh God.
in that same spirit, we are launching an economic onslaught against Iran's financial connections around the globe.
Except for Russia, obviously.
Around the globe.
Yeah, and anybody that also has another copy of the Epstein files.
Our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains this tyrannical regime until Tehran stands alone.
How about I have a good one. This might help. It's probably not on the list, but I'm going to throw it out there. Work with me on this. How about renewables? See, because Iran, by and large, one of the reasons why it can be a bad actor has in the past is because it's a resource economy. It's based largely on oil, and if you just wholesale eliminated the need for oil worldwide, like if you did like a moonshot sort of renewables strategy where you try to move everybody to electric cars, and we did we reinvigorated wind and solar and geothermal and micronuclear, maybe even thorium reactors, and you throw all that together and you spent a bunch of money, maybe even say the amount you would have needed to conduct this bullshit war in the first place, on advancing that technology, then those lifelines would have ended organically, because and you wouldn't have had to kill anybody. As a matter of fact, you might preserve some life in this. Sorry, I'm talking crazy again, aren't I? All right.
Iran's fanatics devote themselves to death to America and seek nuclear weapons to do just that. They have murdered and maimed more of our citizens and service members than any other terrorist regime on earth.
Terrorist regime. I see. So there's a different class. Obviously, we're not talking about the Germans, and yeah. Also, real quick, some of the deaths that they've caused are slingshot from Russia. They're ricochets from Russia. Just for the record.
And they have been at war against America, their neighbors in the Gulf, and much of the world for 47 years. President Trump has taken action that his predecessors have long deferred. And under his leadership, America is...
He was president before himself, too, by the way. Just for the record. If others deferred it, so did he.
No longer managing the Iranian threat. We are ending it.
Dun, dun, dun. That's it. Give it to him, Bessent. Fucking yeah. Operation Economic Outcast.
Our great armed forces have laid the groundwork for achieving the president's objective.
Lay the groundwork? Sorry, what'd you say?
Of preventing Iran from ever obtaining nuclear weapons. They have shown America's resolve to finally end this threat. And the strength of America's economy under President Trump allows us to wage this sustained financial operation alongside the might of our military.
Okay, real quick. Besides oil, what's the other big product, and Shahed drones maybe? What's the other big product coming out that benefits Iran, Pakistan, India, any of these other countries? Like, what sacrifice is being asked of anybody other than the oil produced by Iran, which has been largely off the table for a long time anyways? Do you think we'd be treating this way if iPhones were made there? I don't think so.
Iran now faces a very clear choice with only two paths before them. complete
Die quickly or die slowly?
global isolation and a subsistence economy, or
A subsistence? I don't know. I don't know. How does that work? Does anybody know how a subsistence economy works?
complete global isolation and a
Sure.
subsistence economy,
Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon. I misheard him. Subsistence. So it was someone's subsistence. It past tense.
or a path back to normalcy with an opportunity to rejoin the global economy. Today, we are launching Operation Economic Outcast to foreclose
That's right.
every other option
We've got to keep them separated.
available to the Iranian regime. Treasury has mapped every node, every facilitator, and every network that Iran has used to smuggle oil and evade sanctions.
Yeah. Treasury did that all by themselves.
Beginning
Thank God you showed up and showed them how to operate the levers of the node machine.
today, the actions of Treasury and other agencies will tighten the noose and block every potential source of revenue that funds the IRGC.
Tighten the screws, by the way. If you tighten a noose, person's just dead. There aren't gradations of noosing. Nobody gets paroled from a lynching, I think is the common understanding of that. So tighten the screws. That would be it's a torture analogy. You'll still like it, but fuck me.
And the evil Iranian regime. We are enforcing a zero leakage approach.
So this is not a phrase you use around Trump because he gets sensitive about it.
There will be no minimal breathing space for the regime to rebuild its capacity to inflict terror against America and the world.
They already have it. Terror's an emotion. Sorry. How expensive do you think 9/11 or fucking October 7th were? You want to do the math on how much Oklahoma City cost?
The final refuge of this regime is a mistaken conclusion of nations that still finance the Iranian threat in the hopes of evading it. It is no longer acceptable to operate in the gray spaces of this conflict.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. That's a good point. I'm going to bring this hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if we can find this. That's what it was. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you guys remember Carly Fiorina? Hold on. When Donald Trump wanted to make her he wanted to make her DNI. Do you remember that? Let's see, where is she? Let's see, political communication. Yeah. She ran for office, but there was also was he? Yeah, I want to see. He was running. He wanted her to be. Trump wanted her to be his DNI, Carly Fiorina. Remember that? Okay, so Carly Fiorina. I'll see if I can show you a picture of her. There she is. Hold on. There you go. Get out of here. The pop-ups. Enough with the pop-ups. Here's why Carly Fiorina is such a controversial figure. All right. Official presidential candidate when she was running, before she was the CEO for 6 tumultuous years of Hewlett Packard. Remember that? In 1999, she became the future is female, ladies. she became a female CEO, one of the great female CEOs. Remember that? Yes. And Fiorina, well, yeah, she took over in 1999. She was there till 2005, I think it was. And at one point, she let's see, where is it? She laid off a bunch of people. And Hewitt, blah blah blah. See, the president's changed record as a manager challenge. Carver's other management style, she was often described as imperious and distant. Oh God, forget about it. Hold on. But the important thing is that Kylie Arena. Whoops, hold on. Yeah, here you go. Boom. Life and education. Yeah, here you go. In 19, let's see. Yeah, here you go. So in 1997, prior to Fiorina joining the company, HP's Dutch subsidiary formed a partnership with a company in Dubai, Reddington Gulf, which sold HP's products in Iran. Under Fiorina's leadership at HP, the company sold millions of dollars worth of printers and computer products to Iran through the foreign subsidiary, while the U.S. export sanctions were in effect. After the story was initially reported by the Boston Globe in 2008, the SEC sent a letter of inquiry to HP, who responded that products worth $120 million were sold in fiscal 2008, arguing that the sales did not violate export sanctions because they were made through a foreign subsidiary. According to former officials who worked on sanctions, HP was using a loophole by routing their sales through the foreign subsidiary. HP ended its relationship with Reddington Gulf after the SEC inquiry. So all during her time there, that the subsidiary was set up after that, before she came in, and then after that, she went about selling that stuff for the entire time she was there through the subsidiary, millions and millions of computers and printers. Now, again, we now know that the chips that are, a lot of people that went through COVID are now aware that you can pilfer the chips from a printer or a dryer or other stuff and use them for other stuff. The circuit boards that are available and the chips in smarter devices, especially printers and the like, can be repurposed and made into a shit ton of things, not the least of which are Shahed drones, ladies and gentlemen. So let's be real clear that Trump wanted her as his DNI, in the Tulsi Gabbard line of really qualified DNIs, and she had been selling stuff under the table to Iran, and they knew this. This was one of the reasons why she sort of left in disgrace, why they kind of we fired her for being a bitch. But
countries cannot claim they are blind to enabling this activity. Iran's enablers purchase.
How about companies? Countries like the United States, for example, who are under the impression that our U.S.-based HP might not be selling stuff, might not find out for some time through active blindness or genuinely being unaware that they are playing fast and loose with the rules. So how about those companies? How about those Fortune 500 companies that might be, ricocheting their goods into the country?
Transport its petroleum. They facilitate the flow of its finances through exchange houses and free trade zones. They welcome Iran's flights and maintain registries on its behalf. They turn a blind eye to seaborne fuel transfers and overland transits. They condone illicit use of their banks, all the while concealing the extent of their complicity.
But enough about World Liberty Financial.
The president is making phone calls to world leaders with specific requests to cease their interactions with the regime.
Yeah, I'm sure they're taking that call right away. Also, now do crypto.
We are already seeing results. Over the weekend.
Yes, over the weekend, they have shifted all of it from U.S. dollars and Swiss francs to Dogecoin.
Comments from Iranian leadership clearly acknowledge the effect of this campaign, and nations that facilitate any interactions with the regime should quickly heed our message. Those who stand with the United States will reap the rewards of our partnership. Those who tether themselves to the Iranian regime should expect to share in the isolation of a withering regime.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. This is how sanctions work. Kind of always have. Again, and Donald Trump's first pick for Director of National Intelligence, Carly Fiorina, was one of the people who was willingly circumventing sanctions on Iran that existed for decades.
Teams from Treasury, State, and the U.S. military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action.
You can just send out you don't have like a zine that they subscribe to?
Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified.
Oh yeah, you got a timeline? What's the timeline? What, 2 weeks? I'm going with 2 weeks.
They do not take
You know what? As you guys got to get done selling and buying stuff with Iran before Trump releases his healthcare plan.
action. We will do so unilaterally through Treasury authorities. For example, every branch of Bank Melee must be shuttered and dark. And let me be clear,
Sorry, a bank what?
for example, every branch of Bank Melee must be
Bank Milady? Bank Malay? Bank Milady? Bang Mahoo? Bang Mahooties? What? Bank Milady?
shuttered and dark. And let me be clear,
I'm fairly certain that Milei is isn't the guy from Argentina. It's the name of the Iranian bank system.
any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran
Oh, on behalf. Oh, the entities on behalf. Oh, behalf. You don't say behalf.
any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran
Oh, on behalf, as you do. Oh.
will be removed from the U.S. dollar system. The clock just started ticking.
Great, cool. And how long does the clock tick? An indeterminate amount of time?
The new sectoral sanctions
Oh, behalf. I'll be in the drawing room playing the grand piano.
terminations issued today target 5 of Iran's most vital lifelines that it exploits in other countries: digital assets, technology,
Crypto, and more crypto.
gold, aviation, and shipping. These measures broaden secondary sanctions risk for anyone foolish enough to continue conducting business with this regime.
So you called Pakistan. So Trump called Pakistan, the general and the prime minister, and told them to go fuck themselves and they better watch out because all of Iran's air force is parked in Pakistan.
And will accelerate the speed with we pursue them.
And
will accelerate the speed with we pursue them.
We pursue them. With which?
As I speak, Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control is also sanctioning,
Also known as fuck.
over 60 entities, individuals, and vessels around the world that enable the Iranian regime to procure illicit nuclear and missile technology, conduct cyber operations, and generate oil revenue. This is a sustained campaign to collapse.
Well, sorry, what was the head bow there? Was it some sort of, did he have to show deference to another dog that entered the room?
Oil revenue. This is a sustained campaign to collapse every last
this will be a sustained campaign. It's not, you just started it. You can't say it's a sustained campaign unless it's actually sustained for at least till the end of the speech. Also, when it comes to Trump, he fucking tacos on everything. So how much seriousness should we take that shit with?
For Iran. Let there be no ambiguity as to the position of the United States.
Bent over a barrel.
An economic engagement
of oil
of any kind with this murderous regime will expose those responsible to the full reach of American power.
Does this include Donald Trump offering them $24 billion via the MOU? Because he's right there. You could make an example of him. Maybe throw him in jail today. Tell him, Bassett, show me mean business, man. Throw Trump in jail for trying to give the Iranians $24 billion.
For decades, this regime has drawn strength from a calculus that regards
Thrown strength, drawn strength is drawn strength. Fuck.
For decades, this regime has drawn strength from a calculus that regards Iranian retaliation as certain and American enforcement as negotiable. Under President Trump, that era is over.
Yeah, no, we actually had a peace treaty with them before this all started under the last Trump administration. And by the way, it was clear to everybody paying attention that had there been consecutive terms of Donald Trump, if he had been reelected during COVID and kept going, that this same attack, the bombing followed by a follow-up like this, was going to happen in his first year or two of the next term. He just had to pause it for 4 years, in the same way that Vladimir Putin intended to invade Ukraine, in Trump's second term, and had to wait a year to get the next window of attack under Biden.
To the ordinary soldiers.
Did ChatGPT write this speech? I'll beg your pardon. ChatGPT has gotten a lot better. I mean, he might be still using 2.0.
Supporting this regime, as more and more of your paychecks stop or are supposedly just delayed, ask whether your commanders are leading your country to triumph or to ruin. And recall.
Yes, but obviously don't say it in English.
That the Berlin Wall fell when ordinary soldiers decided not to shoot at their own people. And to those who enable Tehran, do not discount the cost of
Yeah, there were a lot of other things going on, too. It was also another country. It was a third country. The Berlin Wall was named because it was a Soviet separator in another country. It was a satellite wall. If there'd been a wall sort of in Moscow, it'd still be up. You know what I mean?
Washington's resolve. No nation should expect to enjoy the rewards of our system while helping those who seek to destroy it. It is now a time for world leaders to make a decision between prosperity and isolation.
Yeah, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. Man, everything's so original.
Peace and terror, America and Iran.
Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm looking at a shitty AI rendering of Donald Rumsfeld.
The campaign we begin today will gather force with every day that follows.
It might. Or Trump might call it off and then double down and then whatever.
And it will not end until this regime stands alone. With that, I welcome your questions.
Oh, dear. I welcome their questions. I don't have a lot of hope that they'll be great, but I welcome any questioning of this nonsense. Hey, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions, so what do I say we go get a snack?
David from Reuters.
Hi, thanks, Secretary. One of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal is...
It's also Mr. Secretary, but...
the ability to impose secondary sanctions on banks and financial institutions that facilitate transactions for Iran. Chinese banks have often been talked about being targeted.
I think I like talking. I mean, he said behalf. Why not say talking?
Chinese banks have often been talked about.
Targeted or talked about. Sometimes those things they run into each other in your face.
Being targeted, but we don't see any of those institutions targeted here. Is that something?
Because Donald Trump is a big fucking suck up?
That is coming in this campaign, or is the very delicate trade truce with China something that could...
Jesus Christ, that's completely unnecessary. Can we talk him out of...
prohibit you from,
Can we talk him out of anything?
Going that far and taking that very big step.
We want to make clear here today that no one is above the reach of U.S. sanctions. that if they facilitate transactions and are part of the ecosystem that turns Iranian oil into money, into repression.
Is there a chemical process? I mean, I watched Breaking Bad. I'm fairly sure I could do the math on it,
They
but the chemistry seems a little off.
will be targeted. We find that the best way to engage with countries is
Real quick, China is the primary supplier of the two-stroke engines that end up in the Shahed drones that they've attacked our people with and that they use across the region. They make those and they send them to Russia, and they collaborated with Russia to build their Shahed drone factory that attacks Ukrainians. So Russia also, maybe, think about those folks. If you're talking about every area, it's not just direct, like, hey, we're in a market relationship where we're buying something from it. There's a lot more skeevy shit going on beyond that even. So,
through quiet diplomacy, and we are
quiet diplomacy. Yes. That's where Trump will, well, I've talked to Xi Jinping and he said very strongly that he's not doing that anymore.
level setting with every country to tell them our expectations. We know who they are. They know who they are.
I know who they am.
So when the
You know, am they who?
hammer of U.S. Treasury actions falls upon them, they will have no one to blame but themselves. So, Richard from CBS.
He's got a list there. I don't think he's just like hot spotting these people, unless we've discovered Besson's superpowers that he just happens to know the reporters' names that cover him.
Thank you. You said the president is calling world leaders with specific asks and
very specific. It's all very specific, specifying specifics. That's what we're doing, because this is not random or blanketed. It's very specific, targeted, I would even say. Specifically specific targets that we're targeting in their specificity.
and that there is a defined timeline.
Very defined timeline. The timeline is defined. Said it. The clock has started ticking on the very distinct timeline right now. The well-defined timeline clock is ticking on that. So
Who is he calling and what are the
yeah, who's he calling and how long?
asks?
We're not going to name names. That we've already seen some results, and
Yes, the people who were never doing it have agreed not to start doing it, even though they never would.
that I
Great results.
am confident the president, as you all know, is quite persuasive, and we are following his calls up with calls from visits and calls from the State Department and from the U.S. Treasury, expecting them.
Explaining what the fuck he said. I think that's what you mean. After he calls, you go, okay, hi, yeah, it's me. What he's, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about either. It's something about greatest 19.2 trillion. You say that part again. What did he say? Gold statues, statue garden. He went. That's where he went. All right. Yeah. Anyways, it's a sanction thing we're setting up. Yeah. You know the Iranian sanctions we've had forever. Yeah. We're gonna keep doing those. So everything we've been letting you do on the down low, yeah, you need to do them down lower. And what happens if you don't? I'm gonna have Trump call you again, and this time I'll leave him on the phone before I give him a binky. Before we have Natalie come in and get him off the phone. So, yeah, you're going to have to listen the whole time on speaker. I don't know how long he'll talk. Neither do you. All right, you've been warned.
Are telling
And seen.
the leaders, the countries, and the entities exactly.
Again, are these extraterrestrial biological entities? I'm concerned because I don't know who's working with the Iranians, but I want to believe. I want to believe. I desperately want to. All right. I'm no Fox Mulder, but I'd make a good, sideline cousin of his.
What we expect and the timelines, and I would expect that very quickly, if they do not respond, then you will see the ramifications of their actions.
Naughty, dirty ramifications. We're going to ram those vacations right in there.
Can you say how far the timelines are?
No.
Again, I'm not going to set timelines.
You did set a timeline. You said there is a very distinct one. And it started today during the speech, either when you first started talking or as soon as you're fucking done. I think as soon as that sentence came out, clock started ticking. But guess what? You know how the word infinity is not a factor of time because philosophically it is an extra temporal concept? I went too fast, didn't I? Did I jump? That was rude of me. I'm sorry. Okay. I should have warned any of our potheads watching that I might have jumped the tracks. Are they okay? I didn't mean to blow your high. Yes, infinity is an extra temporal concept, and I'm sticking by that. You can't layer them because they're immeasurable. The same thing with a clock that starts ticking but has no end. That's not a clock, you dumb motherfucker.
But we do not have infinite patience here.
Yes, you seem temperamental.
Jennifer?
Oh, Jennifer. Yeah, I remember her. Where's Jennifer? There's 3 Jennifers, asshole. Which Jennifer? You just looked at the page and you just said Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. You just said
with Yahoo Finance. Also, by the way, somebody on his side clearly went, that means you, Jennifer. Jennifer Yahoo. Jennifer. He didn't want to say Jennifer Yahoo because it sounds like an insult.
moments ago that no one is above U.S. sanctions. What specific secondary sanctions or penalties is Treasury prepared to levy against Chinese banks and shipping firms if they do not comply? And then secondly, as you look to take these unprecedented sanctions, you've also said that the Iran...
And do they involve a strap of leather bound around the testicles and a riding crop?
As the Iran conflict fades and oil prices recede, that will help bring down long-term bond yields. In the meantime, you have mentioned your toolkit, and I'm curious if you are...
Goddamn, he was not expecting this roundhouse. Look at his face, like... It's like a slow motion kick to the head.
Looking at reducing auction sizes for longer term dated Treasury debt going forward, and what other actions
fucking Yahoo Finance. Man, here they come with real questions.
you may consider from that toolkit.
Yeah, well, why don't we work backwards?
Yes. Let's start with the stuff I know nothing about and move back to the stuff that I barely am hanging on to.
We issued the quarterly refunding announcement 2.5 weeks ago. We are going to continue with our regular program of auctions. So you will be hearing from us again at the beginning of next quarter.
Yeah, that didn't go well, by the way. Him buying a bunch of bonds to try and lower the yield on them didn't work. They went right back up as soon as it didn't matter. It literally didn't matter.
In terms of, as I said,
that's right. What's Lindell? Yeah, we need Lindell TV's question to come in and go, how do you feel about all these other financial reporters supporting Iran and the killing of Americans?
Every country, every entity should know that they should be prepared to face U.S. sanctions. And
yeah, that's how sanctions work.
No one is above this. We are going to hold everyone accountable, and this is
just in varying degrees of account.
Economic asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation, not asphyxiation, which is no longer fixating on your ex, I think.
Of this regime. And Jennifer, as I said, no one should test our results.
As I said, what did I say? What was my spontaneous statement? No one should test our resolve. As I said, that was written right there. So, and if they do, don't make me read it again.
Josh from the New York Post.
And that, I'm no body language expert like Dr. G and those folks, but look, this like contempt cheek he's doing. Every single one of these. Like, all right, next question. I'm gonna suck. Every single question. Jennifer from whatever the fuck you're from. Mike from toughquestion.com. Tariffs.
You said you weren't going to name names, but there's been some reports that the United Arab Emirates is among some of the first nations to take seriously these words from the United States to cut off all business interactions with Iran. Is UAE leading the way in this respect?
Sorry, you mean the country that Iran struck with drones hitting their hotels, and they're still trading with them? Look, if these people can get along, maybe there's hope for the rest of us.
I would think that the actions that they took last week were not coincident, but likely causal. And I would expect that we would see a
Sorry, what they did caused you to do this?
broad array of countries taking similar actions as we continue our engagement. The UAE have been very good partners and
apparently not
have taken the brunt of the Iranian attacks in the Gulf.
Just the brunt.
And what have these countries gotten over the years from appeasing Iran? They
attacks on Israel that they tacitly wanted for a good long while, but then as their leadership changed and they changed their economic business model away from oil to more tourism and that kind of stuff, they had to increase their regional partnerships and therefore their international partnerships, and that's why the lean away from Shiite to Sunni in terms of engagement in the rest of the world. Sorry, I'm sorry. I thought that was a real question.
Subject to violent attacks. While we were bombing Iran, they were bombing them. So it shows that with this regime, appeasement does not work. And on the other side, with this regime.
Well, why didn't they come to that conclusion themselves once they had been bombed? Apparently it was worth the investment. The ROI on it was fine.
Trying to buy appeasement will no longer work in the eyes.
That's pretty much the only way you get appeasement.
The United States of America. And I want to emphasize that we are spreading out across the world as we speak, that you will see a wave of sanctions when you leave this meeting today, and you should expect that cadence to continue. And I would expect that you will see a major announcement of a financial institution being sanctioned by the end of this week. So,
wow. A major economic entity. And again, you do realize that Trump's World Liberty Financial did $2 billion worth of business with Qatar, and Qatar's been one of the ones that have most financially engaged with Iran during this whole thing. Yeah, and what it's not going to be I can't see it being a Chinese bank, which is the only ones that are meaningful in this situation. Bank of America, you think, Moon Girl? Should we take bets on who this is? Fuck, this is going to be so lame.
Samira from Sky.
Hello, I'm from Sky News.
Yep. No. No. Are you? No. I'm looking for Samira.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking to somebody from Sky News.
From Sky.
It's from Sky. It's going to be Capital. What's in your wallet? Jihad!
No, hi.
Does the United States and President
What is in your wallet? Nothing!
Still want Canada to become a state? He did say that they're getting all the benefits of being a state without being one.
I think he would like
with none of the problems, I guess, either.
Canada to come to the table and negotiate in good faith.
They did. That's where you got the USMCA. But some jackass that whoever dreamt up that deal, it was supposed to be better than NAFTA, but it was obviously a piece of shit. Anybody remember who negotiated NAFTA? I mean, USMCA came in and renegotiated NAFTA. Anybody remember who that was? USMCA. It was supposed to be way better.
Offered quite a good deal last week. They chose to reject it. Unfortunately, Prime Minister.
Well, then maybe it wasn't a good deal. You know? I mean, a rejection of the deal might in and of itself be as much proof as you'd need that it wasn't that great.
Carney rose to power on an anti-American, anti-Trump platform. I believe.
Well, get used to that.
He was more than 20 points behind, and he seems to have gone back to his old playbook. And I think one has to ask oneself: is he trying to benefit himself, the Liberal Party, or the Canadian people? Because
I'm guessing that there's no reason to separate them. Trump is attacking the Canadian people, so if he's doing anything to push back on what Trump is doing, win-win, I guess.
they were offered a very good job.
Yeah, Mark says some unqualified asswipe negotiated the USMCA. I guess. We'd have to look it up.
So,
Sounds like it, though. It sounds about right.
yep, you.
I don't know what this is. Like that. This is a new consistency on Besson. Well, I don't think this is the most questions I've ever seen him take, and all of it, like his reaction to every question seems to be the same. Oh shit! Here it comes. Fucking these assholes. Like that is literally the side smirk he is making. Oh, fucking shit.
Thank you to Secretary Besson. If I could shift to bond yields quickly.
Great. Let's shift into bond yields.
We saw them tick down today after some turbulence and going up last week. Can you tell us if there's any possibility that there will be more bond buybacks anytime soon?
Again, we haven't bought a single bond yet. The next the next time we have an operation is September 9th. So we will see on September 9th. All right. One more. Let's see.
Not that one. He's like, you can see him censoring who he's going to choose. That's going to be a rough one. Because there's the people who are at this are not the White House correspondents or any of the people who are normally there covering it. These are all from, like I don't think he's even called on the Fox business person who's clearly there.
You in the front.
You in the front.
You described this as an
Sorry. He knows everybody from the list. Where you in the front. I don't know if I can. They got next up on this list is one of those dickheads, but I know they know they know I'm lying. So I'm better off just picking you in the front.
Economic D-Day, but D-Day wasn't a threat of an invasion, and the U.S. didn't give a time.
Well, this was a mistake. Asking the guy in the front fucking row.
Line to Germany. So why not impose the sanctions today?
Well, we are
because it would be a terrible idea.
Giving everyone the opportunity to remedy bad behavior. Why would I want to blow up the global financial system?
Whoa. Okay, hold on real quick. Let me check me on this. Why? Hold on. I need to look something up too along these lines. I just need to look something up real quick. Let me just take a. Okay, so the GDP of Iran is $362 billion. At least it has been until the sanctions. Even under them, it's purchasing power overall $1.7 trillion. Its nominal GDP is 362. Services make up 51% of the economy, interior, and then oil and gas production make up about 23%. And its main trading partners are China, Turkey, Iraq, Pakistan, and India. And that's mostly oil. Its top import arrangement, obviously, is China, Turkey, the UAE, Brazil, and India. So foodstuffs and goods and that kind of stuff come through China, Turkey, UAE, Brazil, and India. Why the fuck would that throw a monkey wrench in the world economy? 300, okay, let's see. I'm just trying to look up let's see. 6 billion. When looking at the 100 countries, the economy is most commonly, and let's see. purchasing power. Da-da-da. Yeah, so here's some countries that have the same GDP around that, and adjusted for population, it's kind of nutty. Denmark, Hong Kong, Colombia, South Africa, which is the closest in parity, and then Egypt. But Egypt has about 20 million fewer people, has about 20 million more people, and South Africa has about 20 million fewer people, and they have basically the same economy. 375 to 350 billion dollar economy, 105 to 1.8 900 billion to 1.8 trillion dollar purchasing power. Again, close in parity to Denmark or Hong Kong as a singular entity. Why would that throw the entire world's economy? And again, by comparison, the US economy is like $38 trillion. China's is, even at 18 is supposed to be second in the world, and it's a fucking illusion. It's probably about the same size as Japan's, about 5.6 trillion. Why the hell would that limit, I guess, just the oil sales, but even that's not part of the bigger market. The UAE is going to have trouble selling like farm goods or food inside Iran. They won't have anybody else to sell it to. They wouldn't redirect it. And again,
the United States.
Hold on. This is just some stupid shit. But like, the numbers don't make any sense to me. And if you're building your lie on the numbers, I need to know what they actually are.
We believe that it is important to level set and give people a cure period, but they should know that that will move very quickly and that we are.
So there is a timetable, even though there isn't one.
Serious. Secondary sanctions are a very powerful tool, and we here at Treasury, this is Gene Lang, the acting undersecretary for terrorism finance. And
sorry, so he finances most of the terrorism. Good to know.
In the terrorism finance department and at OFAC, the reason we are able to use secondary,
also pronounced OFAC,
sanctions is because we do not take their use lightly. So we believe that a warning shot and a level set of expectations is appropriate.
The warning shot would actually entail direct sanctions on them to let them know you're serious instead of just telling them. That's stop or I'll shoot, I guess. It's before the warning shot.
And if people do not want to meet our
yeah. That was just a warning shot. And I'll have you know I don't fire as many as I used to.
Expectations, then we expect, and they should expect, that they will leave the dollar system. Okay? Thank you all.
Awkward. Yeah, there weren't going to be any answers to that. His big mistake was asking someone that wasn't on the list. Now, hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. That's a little like deeper reads economically than most other shows will go. I'm glad to do it. Don't worry, we're going to dip for a moment into a new segment we call the Return of Bangholio. Bangholio, who's looking for a teepee for his bunghole. Apparently, and I don't know if you know this, but hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. This Bangholio here is apparently we're doomed. And that doom is relatively inevitable. And there's almost, let me see if I can get this right. Folks, using that communist rhetoric again. The Germans came up, the National Socialists came up with the word folks as that's where the Volkswagen came from, a car for the people. Just saying, socialism. But they used the word folks. That's, by the way, for the record, in case you don't know, they were they were accusing Obama, because he used the word folks a lot, of using communist buzzwords. I'm not kidding. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it. This is the only way America survives impending doom. This is it. He's wearing his 1776 shirt and looking all bug-eyed and crazy. Peter Thayer, hyperinflation and total economic collapse. We have three options: default on the debt and total economic collapse, or three, massive cutbacks on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the two legs in the same pair of pants. You know, what's the difference between Democrats and Republicans? I mean, honestly, right? This is probably what Democrats are thinking. We got to get rid of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Man, if I hear one more corporate Dem come out and say, we got to get rid of these things, massive cutbacks, they're practically running on it. Okay. Ending fraud, shrinking general federal payrolls, massively raising taxes would only slow the bleed. Okay, here we go.
Folks, we have a serious problem we have to.
Yes, that there is a portion of the country that turns to you for political advice and information. That's fucking terrible. I mean, I would stack that. I would call that a crisis.
Address. We're going to leave you with some Friday good news in the end, I promise. But
no, I don't want it there or anywhere else. I don't want anything in the end.
I give good news, bad news.
It sounds like mostly bad news. Impending doom sounds like mostly bad news. I got to say. But Bongholio, take it away.
I saw this X post up the other day from a Parker Thayer talking about how, listen, the debt crisis is at now red line levels. The U.S. national debt just crossed $40 trillion. That's 40, $40 trillion. That's an almost unimaginable number. We are in a really, really bad space right now with our debt. If the bond vigilantes come out and tell the United States we're not going to loan you money anymore, we're going to be in real trouble.
Well, no, we won't. We'll just have to shuffle it. And again, the bonds themselves are our way of doing it through foreign debt. We take it. That's why a lot of our debt comes out of the Social Security Trust Fund. That's the issue more than anything else. And again, this has a lot to do with Republicans trying to create a system where they can undermine Social Security from the start. They want to stack that debt so there's no way to pay back Social Security. So you'll have to do these cuts. This isn't an accident. They didn't stumble onto this path. That's been the plan. That's why Al Gore was talking about putting it in the lockbox. Remember that? A lockbox. Remember, why did he say that? Because we borrow from Social Security to pay for this stuff. And if we didn't have that as an option, we'd have to justify our spending better and that kind of stuff. But the Republicans would never vote for that, not because they want to be fiscally responsible or whatever, but because they want to undermine Social Security.
He notes in the tweet, there are three options going forward to the debt: hyperinflation and total economic collapse.
Nope. Not really.
Default on the debt and total economic collapse.
No, there's nothing immediate about it. Why would you default on it entirely? Even smaller countries with, debt 3 times GDP don't default on it. They work out a plan. They leverage some of it. They use economic growth in other sectors to kind of deal with it. That's why it can drag on as long as it is. The issue isn't that it'll fall all at once. It's that it will just become this kind of trickling burden all the time that ultimately duds out your country.
Or massive cutbacks on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Yeah, the third one is the punchline. That's what he wants. He wants those anyways. Even if the debt wasn't an issue, that's the suggestion, which means you don't trust the person who's calling that there's a crisis and saying why, right? Why we're in a crisis and what we're going to do about it. Because their solution is the only real solution is the thing I've been calling for because I'm ideologically against it.
Now, Parker Thayer is not wrong that if this thing I'm going to talk about doesn't happen, those are the only three options. However, I want to throw
this thing you're going to talk about that doesn't. Okay, something special. Something special's coming.
An option 4. And the option 4 is the reason you are being subjected to a massive op right now on everything from technology to compute to data centers to everything else. If it's
AI is going to solve the work issue for us, and it's going to reshuffle the debt, maybe crypto. Is that where he's going? Thank God somebody this stupid is going to give us the technological answer for this.
not good for your community, fine. It's not good for your community. It's not going to be a perfect fit everywhere. I'm just telling you.
You're right. I agree. They should all be in. You know what they should use? Hey, by the way, I was glad to see that Bernie took my idea. Did you guys notice that I was like, Trump, if Trump believes in these things, replace all his golf courses, put one in Mar-a-Lago. If this is about the future of America and we're fighting against China and whoever wins, that's how you're going to know where the winner is if we won, right? If the only way we can win is by building these data centers, first thing we build them on, golf courses, especially his. Right? I suggested that, and then Bernie made some sort of tweet about Mar-a-Lago. I'm like, you're welcome.
Your friend, you are being inundated with enemies of the United States that are trying to get us to lose the next economic revolution and the industrial revolution with electricity. It is AI. If we lose, we're dead.
Well, again, define loss.
Folks, I wouldn't listen to me, man, if I didn't.
Here's the thing. Europe's not even in the fight. If they're not going to be number one in AI, are they done? What do you mean? I mean, again, I know you're a child, but try to talk about grown-up topics like a fucking grown-up.
Believe it, I wouldn't tell you.
Oh my God. I don't even know I don't know about your capacity to understand what you say you believe.
When you read the intel, it's not pretty.
Okay, tell me the intel about the anti-AI propaganda that's coming from China to slow the whole thing, and duh, we know this.
You know what? Just put Trump. You don't have to believe me, okay? Just I don't believe you. Whatever. I don't like you. I'm a doomer. Okay, fine. Whatever. Here was President Trump in an interview. He's asked this same question.
Oh my God! Just when I thought the answer couldn't get any dumber,
about basically the backbone of this new technology economy, which has to be computing power. It has to be. We don't build it, we lose.
Right. But here, real quick, why is expansion and overwhelming growth the only answer instead of efficiency? Since the technology itself would lend itself towards creating its own efficiency in the process, and so, why wouldn't you just solve the quantum computing issue, which wouldn't require anywhere near that amount of energy? Focus on that, because the sheer growth aspect of it is going to have a glass ceiling. I'm sorry, I'm talking like someone who actually knows about it.
The intel on it is scary, because if they jump ahead of us, China, Russia, and others, by even a week or two, and find a way into our
I've never seen a week or two brain cells fighting.
water plants, our nuclear power plants, folks, I'm telling you right now, we're going to look back and go, how did we let this happen? Remember, this flags in the chat, please. And I hope you never have to use what I just said. We will look back and go, how the hell did we let this happen?
What happened? What happened? You fucking moron.
Here's President Trump, who understands exactly what I'm telling you.
Oh, God. That does not bode well for either of you.
On the whole data.
We've got to win, because who wins is the winner.
Center, what's become a very well-organized op. Check this out.
I saw Texas the other day sort of is against data centers. I think it's a...
I saw Texas is sort of against data centers. Ugh.
Mistake. And I'm not taking positions, or I'm just think it's a mistake. Because there are...
That is taking a position.
The communities that want it. When a community wants it, it means a lot of money is going to come into that community.
Unsightly, potentially.
Well, I don't think they're unsightly. I mean, I'm looking.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Put one on your golf course. Build one right next to it. Build one on one and right next to it. Just you can look at them every day. Can I just say, let him finish this thought.
Some of these data centers are the most incredible buildings I've ever seen.
Oh, they're incredible. Yeah. They're fucking monuments. They're like a rows of Eiffel Towers. What? This is the asshole who thinks that living near windmills lowers the value of your house. What the fuck? This is probably, I don't know why, this is one of the most whipsaw attitudes he has. And it's hard, honest to God, it's hard to separate all of his dumb ideas and his bizarre conflicts and his perceptive ability. But this asshole part of his sales pitch is data centers are gorgeous. They're beautiful buildings. Some of just architectural marvels. I mean, look at them. They're so beautiful. But if I have to see one more fucking windmill, I'm going to kill somebody. Like, it's gross. Windmills destroy your scenery. They're ugly. Also, by the way, take down all the fucking windmills off the coast of Ireland and Scotland and replace them with oil rigs. They're so much more attractive.
They go for 2.5, 3 miles. They're 3 miles by 3 miles.
They're necessary for the technology.
Well, but I think they are tremendously important for the economics. I mean, it's this.
Yes, because they artificially prop up your economic picture in the short term.
Is for Texas to say no to data centers is a mistake in the sense that it could be bigger than oil. I mean, data centers could be bigger than oil. You have to Texas.
Oh my God. Data centers could be bigger than oil. Now, what he means, I suppose, is he heard that somewhere. Return on investment, ultimately the cost versus what it contributes. The question is, was the internet bigger than oil? I'm not even going to try.
It's oil, and there are a lot of communities that.
In what way? I am going to try. What do you mean? What do you mean bigger than oil? Some people say land is bigger than the oceans. Because think of all the things you can do with land that you can't do when you're floating in the middle of the ocean. And there are a lot fewer sharks in Iowa.
But more importantly,
so fucking stupid.
And bad for us, they have a lot of countries that want them.
This is what I'm going to take this in a little bit of a different direction. This is what
Yeah, because the quote doesn't say what you said it would say.
I can't stand about some members of, I don't know what we call it, the old guard Republican Party.
Yeah, rhinos, here we come. This is what it is. You guys, you assholes trying to get elected.
And again, I don't mean like I'm not getting into like a boomer argument.
Yeah, you kind of are.
But when I'll read pieces in the Wall Street Journal and others, people have been around forever on the right side of the political movement, and they're constantly crapping on President Trump when he does things that align with messages they've put out. In other words, like they've hated Iran forever. President Trump does something.
I see.
Iran. And all they're doing is complaining.
Okay. You can hate Iran for the reasons that are important. It's again, it's not the problem itself, is that they disagree on the solution vehemently, or even that what he's doing isn't a solution. It just makes matters worse.
Like every single day. Well, I don't like this strategy. That's okay, fine. Like what's your
David says oil, gas, and coal has $7 trillion in global carbon subsidies. Yeah, don't even get me started on the idea that, we subsidize oil and gas, and we have since we decided cars were an important part of our economic future worldwide. Humans did, not just here, everywhere. And if we treated renewables that way, we'd be way ahead. And that's the way Democrats have been pushing this. It's, again, you wouldn't even know who the fuck Elon Musk was if it wasn't for Obama adding electric cars subsidies to the bailouts of the big three.
Your theory, like Tommy Boy style. The Wall Street Journal's written all these pieces. Hey, here's what data centers can do for your community. Here's why we need them. It's not just national security, but we need to stay ahead in the AI race or we're going to die. They write these pieces all the time. President Trump, who's got, would you agree, fellas, like balls of freaking stone.
I would not agree with that. They're shrivelly little raisiny disappointments. Clearly, I mean, I'm just going by what Stormy Daniels described.
He knows it's not popular. He knows the op is already kicking in.
Oh, yeah. He's not running again, though. He wants the money from those people. And by and large, there's an overlap in the people making mechanically the data centers, not the AI companies themselves, but the people who are building out those systems and the crypto industry. There's a lot of overlap, and his sons are very heavily involved in that, in the sort of electronic fintech. And so one of the areas where you can make a shit ton of money in the shorthand is investing in the build out of these data centers. And he and his sons are all in on that, both through their crypto and their financial, World Liberty financial stuff, and in his own sort of plot to make money off of any of the subsidies that go into these things. So he's planning on making money while the hay, making hay while the sun shines, based on this stuff, whether it works or not. It's not about him standing up for what's right. It's in the short term, this shit will make a bunch of money.
I know it too. It's fine. I'm going to tell you the truth. You don't have to like it. It doesn't matter. He tells you anyway. Because he's like, we can't lose this. We're all going to be dead.
Yeah. And again, listening to the AGI people, it doesn't matter who does it. Again, if ASI and AGI become smarter than humans, we have to beat the Chinese to it. Why? It'll be smarter than the Chinese too. They don't want it, shithead.
How do we lose this? It's not just that. Forget about the national security argument for a moment, even though it's an important one. The Wall Street Journal has this piece up about the $40 trillion debt. Folks, there's almost no way out of this at this point. There's almost no way out of this. Now, your liberal
has increased 17 trillion since 2019. Gee, I wonder what year that it really got throttled forward. Mm-hmm.
Friends are going to argue to you, oh, Trump.
What was that? Sorry? What's the bottom of? Well, the liberal press blames the GOP's 2017 tax cuts and their extension in last year's One Big Beautiful Bill. Revenue has increased 68% since 2018. That's twice the rate of inflation. That's because the tax cuts on the middle class expired.
Tax cuts did it. Again, are we going to do facts or are we going to do bull? Because I'm not doing that. If the tax cuts Trump instilled through the One Big Beautiful Bill were causing the debt problem, then you're probably reading ahead, but keep that on the screen for me. You would think, guys, correct by logic, tax revenue to the government went down, tax cuts, right? Therefore, it caused the debt. Do you believe in numbers? The Wall Street Journal, gross national debt has increased 17 trillion since 2019. That's as much debt as the U.S. added during the entire first 225 years of its history.
Wait a minute. Now do the $6 trillion Trump added in just the one big bullshit bill.
While the liberal press blames Trump's tax cuts and their extension in last year's Big Beautiful Bill, tax revenue that says increased. Tax revenue has increased 68% since 2018, twice the rate of inflation. That's crazy. Tax cuts mean growth.
Right. And Trump's spending has outpaced that by a factor of 12.
Growth means more tax revenue. Yet the liberals keep telling you, hey, man, it was the Trump tax cuts causing this explosion in debt.
Nope. No, that's a straw man. It's his spending that's causing the explosion in debt.
They're just lying to you, just like Ro Khanna. Do you understand this is all an op? All you got to do is ask any simple AI system. Go to the Wall Street Journal, but they don't even like Trump. It's not even a tax.
But why? They're old school conservatives. That's right.
Revenue has not gone down. That's a lie. It's gone up a little, no, a lot. 68%. How does tax revenue go up when you cut taxes? Because people invest the money in their business. The business grows and then pays more taxes. This is not hard.
And yet it is.
It's only worked
And again, the government's tax revenue that it brings in was artificially low to start with. It was never bringing in enough. Every attempt to raise taxes was undercut by the tax cuts that they gave, and it was still below what it needed. Even when at 68%, it has not caught up with what Trump is spending during his presidency.
Every single time it's been tried. I love when they tell you Ronald Reagan cut taxes and it caused a massive explosion in debt. I go, really? When Ronald Reagan got in office, how much federal income tax revenue did we raise? Oh, about $500 million. Really? What did we go look. Ask this question to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm starting to understand why Dan defends AI so much.
How much rose the revenue increase?
You can't just remember yourself?
From, I'm sorry, 500 billion. How much was the tax revenue increase from when Ronald Reagan got into office to when he left? You're going to see it goes from about, was it 500 billion to 9?
What are those books behind you for?
109 billion?
What are they even?
Or something like that. I just did an Austin Powers. But check this out. It's total BS. They're just making these numbers up. They're just pulling these things out of their caboose.
Okay. I don't know how we do you know how we survive impending doom? Apparently, it's tax cuts and data centers. That's all I got from that. Yeah? You guys? Okay. One last thing. I'm going late. I know it. I can do this. All right. There was obviously you had dipshits like Glenn Beck talking about economic D-Day, just nonsense. Trump has Iran on the ropes, and this could be Iran's last chance. But there were others. Let's see if I can find. Whoops! God damn it! I didn't mean to close that window. Sometimes the Windows these tabs are so small that they close when I click them because of this thing. It's just stupid. All right, here we go. Okay, almost there. Yeah, is this it? Yeah. This the gonna. Now it's all over. Is this the? It's a bomb and the chick. Yeah. Okay. So this is just when you thought we'd seen as much AI slop as we could possibly get from Dan Bongholio. Here comes Bend Over Johnson. Trump officially, quote, unleashes D-Day on Iran. The final play as Ayatollah's government admits defeat, which he didn't. The president said it might be time to stop the war. That was what they were saying over the weekend, and they were tying it to something that Trump hadn't even done yet. He's smoking a cigar and lighting it off of Iranian dinars. Now, here's the question. Who broke the window behind him? Why is the place on fire? Is he just shitting his pants?
The state of play in Iran is brutal right now, and President Trump sharing this morning.
So is the state of lighting in your studio. What happened? Where is
Iranian parliament president, we're hungry and we cannot survive. Anyone with a cursory understanding of war in the modern era or in
the modern war,
will
modern war walks beside me.
Tell you that every war starts and ends with logistics, supply lines. If your army can't eat, they can't.
No, I would argue World War II.
Fight. And that is precisely what's happening in Iran.
No, lots of wars actually end with militaristic attrition, big attacks.
Right now, we
the killing of leaders, that kind of stuff.
Hungry, we cannot survive. Iran's parliamentary speaker has issued an unusual, stark warning about the country's deepening economic troubles, declaring that even if a powerful military cannot protect the Islamic Republic, if the people are hungry and everything deteriorates, and in case you're like wanting to wave this off as just some random old guy in Iran, and this is the guy who led the IRGC. This is the guy who was in charge of the military. And he's the one announcing, hey, listen, our Iranian rial, our dollar, is now worth less than fractions of a penny now. That's 2 million Iranian rials to every American dollar. It is cratered through the floor. It is less than many thousands of a percent of a.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing thing for a long time. Also, it's sanctioned, so it's immaterial because you can't turn it into dollars anyways. And also down 31% considering.
Penny. The Iranian rial.
That's a 31% drop.
Has crashed and it is never coming back. And it's.
I got to tell you, going from 0.000025 to 0.0001. I mean, I get that's not, I guess that's not good, but it's also an immaterial difference between, how double fucked can you be?
Down almost 100% all time. Okay, it's not great. Down 95% in 1 year.
Yeah, they're at war. They have a war declared on them. That's how this works.
This is what he's talking about. You can't.
Yeah, we know.
Run an economy like this. If it doesn't matter. Like nobody's going to sell you missiles, bombs, guns. No one's going to sell you the equipment that you need.
They make their own.
If your currency is worthless, they're saying it's.
Well, if you can trade it for oil, it doesn't matter. You don't need currency. You can literally trade that's the thing about being an oil-rich nation. You can trade it directly.
It's over, and it's time.
You can literally have your money be an internal mechanism for spending that has nothing to do with the outside world.
Donald Trump takes a victory lap.
Yes. Benny's just worried about his hoard of Iraqi dinars from the QAnon days. Yeah.
Because these same military powers in Iran are saying, no matter how strong our military is, if we are hungry, we will not be able to endure, saying it's time to end the war. Military power cannot be separated from economic strength, describing security and economy as two wings that depend on each other. Without security,
so take these broken wings.
That investors will not risk their capital, but without the economic growth, domestic production, and sufficient income for ordinary citizens, the government will not be able to sustain security. What he's talking about is that they're worried that they're going to face the CIA playbook here. And the CIA
playbook? This doesn't happen on the down low. These are direct sanctions, stupid.
Playbook goes like this. As soon as the people are hungry, they revolt. Hungry people revolt. People with no electricity revolt. People with no bread revolt. People that don't have their services.
Unlike Benny, who's just revolting all the time.
That hit their bottom level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, those people revolt.
Right, but if they don't have anybody to revolt against, they become entrenched, patriotic, and martyrs. You have to assign the blame. You can't assume that the people in a city that's sieged, for example, the assumption from the inside was that once the people started starving, that they somehow blamed their leaders for letting the siege go on. You're a fucking moron. A lot of times that's when you got suicide bombers. That's when you got people who would carry out night attacks. If we're all going to die here, if we don't win, I'm going to sneak out in the middle of the night out of the walled city and try to stab the leader. Even if I don't make it, we'll take some of them with me. That's how that shit happens.
And you've seen it all throughout history. And I think the CIA understands this. Our intelligence agencies understand this. And this is why the blockade not only is working, but is also a massive humiliation for Iran on the global stage. Because
why would it be humiliating? Of course a country our size would be able to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, you dickhead. If Venezuela did it, that would be embarrassing. If somebody did it with a bunch of fucking rowboats, like, oh shit, Iran's getting their ass kicked by Papua New Guinea. What are you talking about?
You have a situation where Iran says the strait is closed, yet here in this article you can see that America was able to extract 660 million barrels of oil from a closed strait, and Iran did nothing about it. So who's in control? The person who's in control of the world is the person who controls the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has lost control of the Strait of Hormuz.
What the fuck are you talking about? The pivot of the world is not controlled by the Strait of Hormuz, you asshole. Holy shit. Yeah, This is a level of stupid that I don't think any of us have been prepared for a long time. And I don't have my Dum Dum song. That's so sad. I got to move all those over. Yeah.
Q snatch.
I know. I got to use that special software that allows me to do that. It's a piece of malware or whatever.
Listen, I'm not here to blow wind up your wazoo.
No, that's true.
Moose says far right wing MAGA supporters CNN. That's what CNN's conclusion is. Source inside of Iran tells me the U.S. blockade is starting to have a serious impact, choking out Iranian oil sales, the oil sitting rotting, rusting in the Gulf.
Yeah, that rusting, rotted oil. It's not fresh anymore. It smells. You could tell, you know what I mean? It gets that tangy smell.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump extracting the Keystone pipeline, resurrected that. Here we go.
Oh, you mean the Canadian shale oil pipeline or the tar sands?
Here's the AI, along with taking 50% of Venezuela's oil. Now there's going to be major accelerants to Venezuela production and also pipelines throughout the Middle East. Syria, Iraq, and U.S. plan to unveil Mediterranean pipeline to bypass the Strait of Hormuz.
Right, which is a years-long process that, again, all somebody has to do is blow it up and it stops. It's actually harder to stop shipping. That's why they've been able to get ships through than it is to maintain a fucking pipeline.
This is nightmarish for Iran. There's bloodbaths across the people who helped Iran get to this point. China, namely.
Sorry, back up. Whoa, hold on. Sorry, you think this has to do with Iran? Brutal crash, like 1.2 trillion yuan erased from the Chinese stock market today. It's happening. What is?
Across the people who helped Iran get to this point, China, namely, because China can't get their oil. Every other country can get their oil, but China.
What? China doesn't need their fucking oil. Again, they built up their reserves before this all started, and they can buy it from the other countries. It's not like their refineries require specific Iranian crude.
Buys 90% of the sanctioned Iranian oil. And, well, if Iran was in a position of strength, they wouldn't be begging and crying and bitching.
United States has not released any of our frozen assets under the memorandum of understanding. Okay. BRICS news.
About the United States not releasing any of their frozen assets. They keep crying about this, asking for a return for the memorandum of understanding. It looks like Donald Trump's going to actually win this waiting out game.
You mean he lied about the memorandum of understanding that he signed? Okay, this is just aggravating. Real quick, this is going to bug me. Hold on. Let's see. Where is it? Let me go to the news on this. Boom. Yeah. So there was a, get out of here. Why do I don't need the fucking, yes, go away. Thank you. There's now, Benny wants you to think that the Chinese market crashed because Iranian oil. I think that was clear in what he said. Yes. Okay. The reason was they had their steepest weekly decline in 2 years. Was that their IPO of their chip manufacturer took the liquidity out of the market. Everybody raced to one stock, and there were a bunch of like other ones that were coming online, and they all collapsed at the same time. Yeah, here it is. And then nobody knew who to back. So in the Chinese market, everybody was like, "Oh, great, we're going to make knockoff, NVIDIA chips, right?" So AI chips, chip stocks lead market decline. China's blue chip CSI 300 index dropped 2.5% by the midday break, touching its lowest level in 3 months, while the Shanghai Composite Index fell 1.6%. Both benchmarks are on track for their weakest weekly performance since late December of 2024. This is what happened. This is the like the drop. There was a movement. Everybody was taking their wins out of the U.S. market and going, "Oh, this like new chip is going to come online. We're going to take our money out of the Nasdaq and we'll put it in this thing, and then it's going to pop because the Chinese are going to race ahead." And then everybody went, "Actually, okay." Market participants have increasingly focused. Well, get out of here! Why do I need your stupid things? Hold on, shrinky dink. CXMT IPO raises liquidity concerns. Very exciting. Market participants have increasingly focused on the impact of CXMT's $8.6 billion IPO, the largest in Asia so far this year. Reuters reported that although retail subscriptions exceeded the shares available by more than 200 times, the oversubscription level was considerably lower than seen in most recent Chinese IPOs. Analysts believe the IPO has prompted investors to shift funds away from existing technology stocks, intensifying selling pressure across the sector. So they, like Huawei and these other areas which were tried and true, everybody wanted to race in to this Chinese chip maker to see if they could ride it to the top because it was brand new and all this other stuff. The problem is the other stocks that they were in were the companies that would buy these chips. So you can't chase the value of the chip up if the companies that you were invested in lose all the money they would use to buy the new chips. Fucking hell. Reuters also reported the expectations of additional blockbuster listings by companies such as robotics maker Unitree, which is hilarious, and memory chip producer Yangtze Memory Technologies have heightened concerns that fresh equity offerings could continue to drain liquidity from China's stock market. By and large, the average citizen is not allowed to trade in stocks. That's why the real estate market was so fucked for a long time, because it was literally the only thing that people could invest their money in, to the point where people were, buying multiple properties, getting houses built that no one was ever going to live in. That's how the ghost cities came about. And then in a bunch of these situations, the government set a rule, like they didn't want married couples were like putting their money together and buying multiple properties, and they're like, okay, married couples can only own one property because they're like one entity as a buyer. And so people were getting divorced so the husband and the wife could buy a piece of property each. And then they would buy it in the kid's name as well. And then maybe in their grandparents' name, even though their grandparents don't do anything anymore, they would be the technical owners. Like everybody in the house would own a piece of property, but basically everybody still lived in the same house. It was still one household owning 5 houses, which is fucked. And that's how the sprawl happened. And then Xi Jinping decided to fix it, kind of like Trump and his tariff shit. I'll just roll in and set a brand new rule. I'm going to set a line, and if you try to cross this line, you're done. And the problem with that, instead of helping people, alter their investment over time or whatever, it was just a cutoff, and it fucked the market, just spiraled it. It's like grabbing an airplane stick and going, "We need to go that way," and just yanking it and putting the plane in a spiral. So state media attempt to calm markets, blah blah blah. They did all that, and I wanted to see the chart. Let's see if we can do this. Market siphon. They don't have the. See if we do. That's semiconductor stocks. Let's see. Chinese stocks heat map. See if I can show one. Here. News. This is. Here we go. This is the. And this was, by the way, this is July, that when this happened, when he was showing this, whatever. But this is the heat map from July in China, where 4.3 trillion yuan in market value was erased. Yeah, China's going to eat our lunch. We've heard it many, many times. I'm way over. I know, but we dealt with economic D-Day today. We dealt with the sort of oops. No, I'm not. And Besson's BS. And the only thing we didn't do was Little Bunny Fuck You showed up on Candace Owens' show with Anna Kasparian. Strange bedfellows, these kids. That that they messed up in the Charlie Kirk thing. This was the why one camera.
You just mentioned that he provided.
So TYT is having Candace Owens on as a legit guest, not, oh, fuck, here we go. And she might as well be a correspondent. TYT interviews. Owens explains the latest in the Kirk assassination case. No, she fucking doesn't. There's a trial going on in Utah that is happening. That would be the latest in the Kirk assassination case.
Investigators with Google links of the footage.
Why did you jump in on her face on Google?
He provided them.
Is that something TYT's now doing anytime Anna purses her lips?
You just mentioned that he provided investigators with Google links of the footage.
What was that? Seriously, is just like fapping material?
Did he provide
as well
them
as a flash drive, which is what was testified to, which means what happened to the SD card?
There's just so much, and I know I'm going to miss things, and you do really.
There are, who was my dear friend in the chat who sent a picture to me on Blue Sky, I believe it was, and we don't need to watch this. This is a bunch of shit. Let's see. Yeah, that would be this kind of thing. That would be very possibly this kind of thing. There are combination SD card readers and flash drives. Just saying. Yeah, the editing on that is just, and I got the Mar-a-Lago look. Is that what's happening? I honest to God, if this doesn't just tell you everything you need to know about the state of the young turds in this work, Candace Owens, I mean, look at that Chiron. Look at that. That Candace Owens joins the young turds. That's amazing. What more could you ask for? I mean, nothing and no one is off limits. And again, this is not even like we certainly have issues with her idea about economics and women's rights and family values and all that stuff that allegedly we have a problem. But we here at the Young Turds want to make sure that everybody knows the current status of the conspiracy theory around Charlie Kirk that is being deflated every day by the actual case that's going on in a courtroom. God forbid. Liberal Dan says, Candace is worse, but that's like saying dog crap is worse tasting than cat crap. It's still crap. I agree. Having not done the actual tasting, I'm going to trust you on that. What happened to Anna? Once upon a time, I used to really like her. She turned into such a, again, this might be another Trump situation, folks. Maybe this was always a problem. Maybe the kind of, you didn't mind the kind of judgmental bigotry and assumptive politics and as long as it seemed to be on your side. But it's the principle and the function of someone's, their philosophy and I suppose their brain that determines how they see things and interpret them and then regurgitate them. And in some cases where it's kind of obviously served up, there are a bunch of people who can look very much on your side. That's why you get a broken clock theory, at all. That's why you get a broken clock situation from these folks. But there's also this point where sometimes that's just the side of the bread the butter's on for a while. And you'd say, yeah, twerps, that works. But again, Cenk started out as an Armenian Holocaust denying right winger, and there's no real reason to believe that he's anything but that now. And again, the young twerps, we'll just use that works, helped Trump get elected. That's exactly right. Where was that? Yeah. That's the point. They are their entire function is the diminishment of the Democratic voting. That's it. That's their whole purpose. And you can't do that just by going, you being a Republican and going, you people shouldn't fucking vote. You don't deserve to vote, because that makes people want to vote. If you want to really deter voting, act like you're on their side and tell them the reasons why you wouldn't if you were they. That's how it works. Yes, it's exactly like Rusty Trombone's Trues. Exactly. You have to pretend to be on someone's side to manipulate them. Otherwise, it's not manipulation. It's just blather. It's just anger. It's just whatever. And you have as much of a chance of having them, I think some people do things or react to things simply because Trump is for them. They'll react against them. And I understand that, right? That's sometimes your enemy can define what has value, right? But coercion and manipulation, yeah, only happens when someone pretends to be on your side. Cenk is a reactionary without a filter. Yeah, when stuff kind of comes out of left field and he doesn't censor what he's saying, yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt where he said bestiality shouldn't be illegal if you're on the receiving end of the sex act from the animal. That's one of those things where I didn't know we were going to discuss this today, but something really fucking stupid's going to leap out of my head. Yes, he actually said that. Hold on.
I believe that if I were the benevolent dictator of the world, I would legalize bestiality where you are giving, where you are pleasuring the animal. I believe that
Yeah, he wasn't kidding. He was not kidding. That was not a gag. This is back when
I have decided what that Boing Boing chick was doing. She was doing the jaywalking of bestiality. Like, yeah, it might technically be a crime, but let's not waste the court's time on jaywalk.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough.
But here comes the controversial part, the part I shouldn't say.
And here it comes.
I believe that if I were the benevolent dictator of the world, I would legalize bestiality where you are giving, where you are pleasuring the animal. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. Now why? Why did
Now, the staff laughed, but that was clearly a what the fuck laugh. And look at Anna. Poor young Anna before the hair dye and lip filler. It's this was and he seems to be like, what?
that happened? It's the dumbest thing
It
I've said.
really is the dumbest thing you said.
No, I'll tell you why.
No, not by any stretch.
I'll tell you why. Because there's was the case that we covered where there was a guy or a girl or something that was pleasuring a horse, and the horse came to a conclusion, right?
Oh, did it? Really? It just realized that its life had gone in the wrong direction. It came to a conclusion, did it? It concluded that perhaps this was the greatest barn ever.
So who got harmed?
You know that people who are, okay, look, not to be a downer about what you're saying, because what you're saying sounds kind of funny, but
No, it doesn't.
a lot of people who are being raped can actually have an orgasm.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. Yeah, that's Anna. Oh, dear. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not. I don't need any of that in my, no. No. So, again, maybe, just maybe, they were always there. Maybe, just maybe, there has not been oh my God, what happened to them? Maybe they just returned to their base settings. Yeah, what in the actual fuck? How about Um, mm, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. I've got to do. Oops. Huh. It's gonna. I'm gonna have to look it up separately. Hold on. It's not. They've done. They have a partnership with Google, so Google tends to expunge these things. Let's see.
This is an emergency.
Hold on. Is this it?
I wanted Jill to focus on more of the pop culture news and less of the hardcore political news.
You know, I thought he was making a judgment on me. Like, you're not smart enough to be on the show, Jill, so we're just going to put you to some of the more softer content.
She thought she would rather do the whole show, or I think not the show at all. So you're telling me that August 15th, you're done. You're going to D.C.
Moving to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A few weeks after I got hired, Jill decided that she wanted to move to Washington, D.C. Cenk realized that he needed somebody to book guests. So he actually promoted me from a part-time employee to a full-time employee.
We decided, hey, you know what, Anna? Why don't we try you on the other side of the camera a little bit? All right, this is Anna Kasparian, if you've never met her before.
Hello.
She wound up becoming one of our co-hosts.
But the hardest part for me is obviously the constant feedback, the constant criticism, the constant trolling. When you first start doing videos on YouTube, you're kind of obsessed with reading comments. You're like, oh my God, what are people saying? Do they like me? Do they hate me?
Are you? Do you?
Do they think I look good? Do they think I'm ugly? Like, you want to hear people's opinion.
I do.
And then you start realizing that the
Excuse me.
more you read, the more you want to do self-harm. I love being a social justice warrior. I'd rather be a social justice warrior than a piece of fucking shit. Okay? How about that? And you can call me a social justice warrior. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. At this point, I don't give a shit. Okay? That's it. That's who I am. I have a hard time not.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna find the. Hold on. Where is it? See if I can find the. Is it? Yeah.
About how the sexualizing the women messages, okay?
Right.
And then we got into talk about sex, right? We're talking about sex. Is that what we're talking about, right? And I said, if you tease men the right way, they'll give you anything. So we decided to do an experiment. Will that actually work in real life? And I asked Anna to go to a mall, okay, and just ask a random guy to buy her shoes. Just buy them free for her and see what happened. Now, I don't know what happened, but Anna's here to tell us. You tried it yesterday.
I tried it yesterday. I guess I kind of cheated a little bit because I was in one store trying on clothes, and I decided I'm going to try on this little denim skirt thing, you know? So as I'm going into the dressing room, I see a guy standing by there, and I ask him, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this outfit? Does it look good? And he was like, yeah, that looks really good. And I was like, oh, do you have anything to do right now? And he was like, no, not really, just looking around the mall. And I said, hey, I'm gonna go across to Macy's real quick to the shoe department. Do you want to go with me? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. So we go, and I start trying on some shoes, and I found a pair that I liked, and I looked at them, and I said, do you like these? And he's like, yeah, they look good. You really like them? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, since you like them so much, you want to buy them for me?
Oh, I can't. This is. No, come on. This is Class A stuff. Okay.
It's totally Class A stuff. Yeah, this is They're Eating the Pets live. That's exactly right. This is the hold on. We have. This is. I want to fast forward. There's the. Hold on. This business. And then, oh, yeah, nope, hold on. Where is it? This would be that one, hold on. Oh, I can find it. Give me a second. All right. Facebook. Okay. See if this comes up. Son of a bitch. Nope. Yeah, they've done everything they can to scrub the situation as best I can. I'll look it up for next time. We don't need this. But yeah, so later mentions. There we go. Let's see if this is. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Now it's going to drive me crazy. I gotta find this. Okay. Let's see if I can do this in videos. Yeah, apparently Jimmy Dore posted a bunch of these, and
used to work here. It's a decision I deeply regret. We try to expand the spectrum of what is acceptable thought, and so corporate media has it easy. They just have to ask, "Do you believe in the status quo?" And
yeah, this is he thinks the corporate media is to blame for him hiring Jimmy Dore and Dave Rubin.
People answer that not explicitly but implicitly through their answers, and then they get hired that way. We hire
only people who will deny the Armenian genocide through their behavior, or through their tacit understanding that you will, and therefore they must.
A wider range of folks, and sometimes it goes wrong. And Jimmy's one of those examples. So, and I found out,
by the way, one of many
recently about an incident that
yes, Cenk is basically the left wing Oprah. Like Oprah brought us Dr. Phil, bless her heart, Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, just like these rando assholes. And Cenk's trying his best to, operate in do a what would Oprah do.
That happened while he was working here. And now the person that's talking about it is Jimmy. So he has been attacking us online over and over again with nothing but lies and smears, some of which I'm going to show you right now. But we still held back. And of course it's frustrating.
Oh, it is so frustrating.
He was a friend, or at least I thought he was, to me and to a lot of people here. And we've been a little shell-shocked by not the disagreements. Who cares? We had disagreements when he was here. That's not an issue at all. But by honestly the lies and the smears and the attacks that were deeply personal in nature.
Terrible.
So
also, I think this was when he was saying that like he had sexually harassed Anna, or he was accused of sexually harassing Anna because he mocked her for her newsgirl outfit or something like that, and it was seen as that at the time. I mean, again, this is like two pigs fighting over the trough.
Both Anna and I got frustrated, and at one point she sent him a DM that Jimmy's going to talk about in this clip that we're going to show you, and it was basically saying, "Look, we know all these things about you that we haven't shared before," in a way of saying we are holding back while you're going nuts.
Yeah.
Well, why? If you knew those things, I think one of the reasons why you're holding back is because you knew them. You knew they were true while he worked there. You didn't give a fuck.
Right? And so
he's Dopra. That's amazing. Gino, that's, yeah.
Do you have no humanity or decency? And then you're about to find.
I'm sorry, what's humane or decent about hiding someone's terribleness from the rest of the world? You know what I mean? Like, again, I welcome any former co-stars that I've had. If they have stories about what a shitty coworker I was or awful stuff I allegedly did, or have at it. Like, please warn everyone that I'm a terrible person and avoid me at all costs. Right? Hey, how about that? Anybody, any of the shows I've been on, if I mistreated you in any way, made you feel less than, was hurtful, did anything disgusting or untoward on set, I give you total permission. I have no NDAs. Please tell everyone what a fucking beast I was. And I will not return fire if you're the kind of person that, did awful stuff and you're perceiving what I did. I don't know, whatever. Please, just go ahead. Everywhere I've worked, I'm comfortable that no one's like, well, we're keeping this whole fucking thing about you being a complete fucking monster to ourselves, just, like on a bro deal.
Out the answer to that, because this is what he said on air. But before we get to that,
yeah.
yes,
So I want to be clear about something. So the DM that I sent him specifically called him out on his constant sexual harassment of me at this place.
Okay, real quick. A DM is not a call out. For real, a DM is not a call out. A call out is, I called you out. In front of other people, I called out the thing that you were doing. I called you out in front of other people. A DM is not a fucking call out. It's attempted blackmail or leverage, extortion, perhaps, of behavior.
At TYT.
I DM'd you out the fuck out of here.
I also want to be clear that I didn't talk about it with anyone. I never talked about it with Cenk until very recently, because
it's not calling out. It was on the down low
for obvious reasons. And so I sent him that DM because the harassment has continued. It's not sexual harassment. It's been constant harassment online that wouldn't go away. Doesn't matter if I ignore him, which some of my friends, my leftist friends have told me, just ignore him, it'll go away. Just ignore him. Kept going and going and going, directing trolls at me nonstop. And finally I couldn't take it anymore. So I sent him that message saying, you remember what you did to me.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that he positions himself as this moral fighter for progressive values.
Yeah, but that's the same problem we have with you guys.
And he and I both know the kind of behavior he engaged in when he was working here. So I wanted to
thanks, Kristen.
Give you that context.
So by the way, why didn't Anna tell me? Because I would have fired him. And no good deed goes unpunished. So she didn't tell me. He kept working here. And next thing you know, he's about to tell you a story of what happened. Now, ironically, there's lies in here too. But let us show you who Jimmy Dore actually is. Here, let's begin.
But here's how she's trying to threaten me. And I'll tell you why this is a big mistake on her part. She says, I'm sure you remember when you constantly made inappropriate comments about how sexy you found me at work and even felt the need to ask me where I shop for my jeans so you can buy a pair for your wife so she dresses better.
Thank you.
That was followed by an apology card you wrote me for the degrading harassment. I've been holding back, letting you run your mouth now.
We remember this back in the day. I think we covered this once before.
Stop as if you're some sort of warrior for what's good in the world. That's going to change. So now she's, instead of saying I'm paid by the Russians or saying I'm working for Assad, she's now going to try to pretend I sexually harassed her when I was at the Young Turks.
Now, I give you that as a...
Also, I don't know why those would be mutually exclusive. I mean, I think the chances that if somebody is paid by the Russians, the chances that they also are comfortable sexually harassing people, seems to line up, right? Yeah.
Lead into what the story he's about to tell you, okay? So he claims and laughs about how Anna was pretending that he was sexually harassing her. Then we don't have to say anything else. Let Jimmy tell you what he thinks happened.
I'll tell you this story. The story about that was followed by an apology card you wrote me for degrading harassment. Anna Kasparian used to dress when I worked there unbelievably inappropriately for a newsroom. She looked like she was going to a rave. The skirt, one time she came into the newsroom with a skirt so short. It wasn't a pencil skirt. It was like a fluffy one too, but so short that she bent over in front of me and I literally saw her ass and her thong. She's wearing a thong. I literally saw it. Everybody saw it. And I go, hey, Anna, nice news skirt. And everybody laughed. Like they laughed louder than I thought they would. And so it humiliated her. She got humiliated in the middle of the newsroom.
Right, which was your point.
And I did it. And I felt bad. At that time, we were friendly. And I was just busting her balls, right, for dressing like that in a newsroom. You're going to bend over and show me your ass? I think that's a little, I'm not offended, but I think that's a little risque.
Yeah, nobody thinks you'd be offended by the idea. That's, again, you have no moral floor.
Imagine if I did that. I walked around showing my ass to everybody. So when I did that, so she got really mad. She got humiliated. Her face turned red. She tried to insult me back, and it just fell flat. And she looked, bad. And I felt bad for her. I didn't fight. I didn't want to make her feel that, but I just wanted to make a little joke. And all I said was, "Hey, Anna, nice news skirt," and everybody.
It was killer. Remind everybody how funny it was. Anyway, so these people can eat themselves. I don't really care. But a good reminder that show started with Spot the Camel Toe as one of the segments. And Hassan Piker's segment that he used to do, what was it, 2 Minutes in Heaven or whatever, and that kind of stuff. He used to talk about Ollie G level shit. If there's grass on the mound, let's play the idea, all that kind of shit. That's who they are. That's who they've been. And they're cool with it. And again, one of those things where I can't believe they started acting like that. They just reverted back as soon as they could. Yeah, that is true. Jimmy did once refer to himself as a comedian. I don't know where that came from. It's kind of, maybe it's one of the, far-reaching trans identifiers. He's a trans comic. He believes himself, even though he's not a comedian, he perceives himself to be one in his mind. That's the idea. But yeah, so that attitude is partly why apparently they had their moments or broke up or something like that. And again, it's not our problem. But it's indicative of the mentality and the attitude of that place. And I don't know which is worse, that Jimmy felt comfortable making that joke, and that everybody at TYT, according to him, laughed really loud when he called out Anna's clothing and that you could see her ass, that everybody there found it just as funny as he did, if not more so. And the humiliation of Anna. And again, there's a lot to unpack there. Some people might have laughed because it was shocking to see her ass, and therefore somebody pointed it out and it broke the tension for them. The laugh comes from that. Others might just be that they didn't like Anna very much and liked her being taken down a notch and were looking for somebody to do it. And when it happened, that's where it came from. Either way, these are the kind of ill-gotten laughs that people who aren't very nice tend to get and tend to enjoy. And if that's the sort of the driving idea of humor over there, along with their fucking, spot the camel toe shit that they were doing back then, it's indicative of who they were hiring and who they continue to hire. And and again, this lines up with Chomsky and the fact that he was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein's, and really fucking gross. And the irony that he wrote a book called Manufacturing Consent, which is one of the books that everybody fucking cites, and he's this entry level guy for left wing ideology and stuff like that. And you can't point out that the dude was fucking gross. But it doesn't mean that the ideas he sold to the world were necessarily gross. He borrowed them as much as anybody else did. But, Charles Manson got a murdering sociopath, got close to hippie chicks by pretending to be a hippie. David Koresh, Warren Jeffs got close to and gained control over underage girls and women in their cult part of that by pretending to be men of God. That's how that works. And the highly pious tend to be the people you have to watch the most. So, anybody with a purity test they end up being kind of engaging in some of the worst shit by and large. So it should come as no surprise. But it was a laugh fest. Yes, that's one of the things that stands out in his telling of it. And I don't think the people at the Cenk and the others don't disagree with that part of it. Right? That's why, because it's bad. Yes. Is it bad that maybe Anna felt like she had to dress that way to keep her job at the Young Turks? That's a possibility. That's kind of gross and kind of sad. Is it gross that Jimmy would feel comfortable making that kind of joke at her expense in that situation instead of taking her aside later and saying something that may have been embarrassing but wasn't, an act of embarrassment? But that he chose obviously the cheap and easy road to it. Yes, that's gross. But what's even more telling is, according to him, and at least there's no pushback that I've ever seen on the TYT side of it, is that the staff did laugh at that together in mass. Like I said, there's a multitude of reasons why you might laugh at that. You might laugh at it because it's mocking her specifically. It might be because you're uncomfortable and it made you laugh. But everybody did. And that was about that workplace. That workplace, all that's ill about it doesn't stop with Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore, Cenk, and Anna. It doesn't mean everybody there that works there is a monster, and some of them very well they may mean well. But the structure of it entirely and what it's built on, which is, I believe, a mechanism designed wholly to keep Democrats from voting, to shave off a percentage of Democratic votes, to guarantee right-wingers an easier path to office. That's what TYT is for. It has nothing to do with their stated mission. It might as well be like, Tim Pool didn't give a rat's ass about Ukraine until Tenet Media was paying his bills. The motivation is something else. And it might be natural conservatism. It might be money. It might be that they make more money on the outside. So if Democrats are in office and stuff, it just does not work as well. Right? I have other shit to do. If the bottom fell out, if Trump kicked tomorrow and we had Democrats for the next 10 years, I got other shit I can do. There's a bunch of people who don't. They don't have a career unless they're slaying monsters, which means they have a vested interest in the monster at some point. And they also means they can't solve the problem and move on. John Iadarola seems cool. I agree. I think he's one of the people who's kind of like stuck around with them because it matters. He's like some of the people in the first Trump administration who were like, I want to be the adult in the room. You know what I mean? If I leave, only a monster will step in, right? Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know the guy, so it's hard to tell. But again, you can have people who are, and a bunch of those people, by the way, have moved to Midas Touch, if you've noticed, jump ship from TYT if they actually believe what they're saying. They tend to jump ship and go to Midas Touch. Because I think by and large, it has been my experience with the Midas Touch guys that there's no behind the scenes fake version or whatever. They may have a business model and they may be trying to make it profitable and doing all that kind of stuff. I don't fault them for that because they're ice skating uphill against Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, RSBN, fucking Trump media and technology. There's a reason why you have to build your network and build the monetary base. And if you're going to hire people, that's knock yourself out. But they didn't start with a $25 million infusion from David Geffen, that's for sure. And by and large, my interactions with them so far have seems to be that they are genuine. But let's say one of them wasn't or they weren't at some point. Would that change the value that I would put on the values they espoused before you found out they were a fraud? This is the nature of like the pious falling of Catholic priests or whatever. If you find somebody is a liar and a cheat and is using their piousness as a vehicle to sneak into your life, your bed, your DMs, whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that the ideology that you attributed to them is at fault. They took advantage of that. If you were busy being a good person and they were posing as a good person, that does not mean the traits that you say exemplify a good person are at fault or are wrong. And that's the danger of a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's the point of it. There are those that, especially the both parties do it, both sides do it crowd. Everybody's in on it. It's the Illuminati, the deep state, blah, blah, blah. Those crowds want you to believe that the ethics don't even actually exist. And you're a sucker for believing they exist in the first place, not you were fooled by somebody like Avenatti or somebody who was full of shit. Or in the case of maggots who are like, I thought he would be the peace president. I think you're an idiot, but that doesn't mean having a peace president is a bad idea now just because you got suckered by some dipshit because you thought you were going to get a tax break or you were willing to look past the fact that he was lying. The good traits are still the good traits and you should stick to them no matter what. If you meet your heroes, it's one of the people who like, I've been very lucky. I've met a lot of my heroes and they're good people, genuinely good people. And I'm very happy about that. From Paul Stanley to Danko Jones to Doug Pinnick to the guys in King's X to fucking, Kip Winger. I don't know, like all these people I liked in high school, musically and the like. And I was like, they're awesome. And then I met them and they're like good folks, genuinely good. But if I met a couple of people over the years that were kind of assholes or whatever, but that just entrenched me more in the good traits that I thought they exemplified. Because you don't really see the good traits in another person. You see yours exemplified in them. And if they stop exemplifying those things, it doesn't mean that dies in you. It just means you projected them outward onto someone else and they took advantage of it. But those traits still exist in you. That's why you resonated to even the example or the illusion that existed there. You're still the good person. So if you meet a hero and they turn out to be a piece of shit and they're a liar and a philanderer and whatever, and they're nothing like you thought they were, good. Because that'll reinforce that it was the values that you saw in that person that are yours that were important, not the existence of a secondary human being that, may have postured that way. And on that note, I'll let you guys go. But this is a crucial part of this. This goes in with the jargon conversation we were having this morning. The labels are not more important than the concept. And if you find yourself fighting on behalf of the labels, you'll get manipulated. But if you know the labels and what they mean to you, and somebody else attacks those labels, you can stand up your principles as the definition of what that label, that word, that shorthand means. You're talking about character. That is exactly right. And I would argue that's what makes you awesome. That any characteristic you see in another person that you resonate with, that you think is positive, that's just you externalizing the value of that thing. And maybe in some way you haven't been allowed by life or circumstance, family, friends, or whoever to recognize that when you see that trait in someone else and you appreciate it, it's also appreciating it in yourself. And maybe give yourself a little credit for that at some point. Just saying. That if you see somebody else's character and it's impressive to you, it's because part of you is that way or aspires to be that way. And that's great. Follow that. Other than that, I have no opinion. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else, and I'll see you tomorrow. Path that wins the race. These worn out shoes, these teenage dudes. You shining star, they'll say to you, who do you think you are? To run so fast, to fly so far. Automatic, it's automatic. Subdivisions of nothing, empty hands. The color of cold homogeny. Who sings homogeny in a song? You're welcome.